we we're here to interrupt your regularly scheduled program already in progress. We gotta tell y'all about what happened to this guy here. Um, I got other live shows that's based on the other comedians that died. You have George Carlin. You have let's see, we get all these guys here. Uh, you have we have Leonard Schneider, George Carlin. You have people like Sam Kinison and people like who else? Robin Williams. Yes, Robin Williams. So we got the I got one live show that I had to do here today is, and we're taking you the legacy, taking you to the story of Mr. Patrice O'Neill. This is Patrice Lumumba Malcolm O'Neill. This man was an American comedian and actor. He was known for his stand-up comedy career and his regular guest appearances on the talk show Tough Crowd with Colin Quinn and the radio show called Opie and Anthony. O'Neill began performing stand-up in 1992 and developed an act based on conversations with the audience, deconstructive analysis, and occasionally confrontational points of view. From 2006 to 2008, he presented the Black Phillip Show on XM satellite radio, his only stand-up comedy special, Elephant in the Room. It was released. It was released 9 months before his death at the age of 41 from a stroke caused by type 2 diabetes. A posthumous, a posthumous follow-up what's a follow-up is let's say a posthumous follow-up. It's called Mr. P, I think. It was released. It was released as audio only. Let's get this thing started, shall we? Going to the early life right here. Patrice Lumumba Malcolm O'Neill was born in New York City on December 7th, 1969. He was named after his mother. He was named by his mother after uh, Patrice Lumumba, who was a leader of the Congolese independence movement and the Republic of the Congo's first prime minister, and the African American human rights activist Malcolm X. He was bullied. He was bullied at school over his name, but later said that it taught him how to be a man. And his sister, Zinder, Zinder that I had to mention, were raised by their mother in Boston, Massachusetts, largely black working class Roxbury neighborhood. O'Neill had never had a relationship with his father, although until he was aware of his identity. What are you supposed to say? Miss Williams, O'Neill had never had a relationship with his father, although he was aware of his identity. In his adolescence, O'Neill has said that he was convicted of rape, statutory rape of a girl who was like 1 year younger than him, and he spent a summer in prison. Going right in here. O'Neill attended West Roxbury High School, which he took up football and ended playing his playing career with the three varsity letter awards, like and at least winning a state championship in his senior year. But he turned down a sports scholarship at Boston's Northeastern University, in which included a housing grant in favor of studying performing arts and at the university with a major in theater studies. His interest in comedy had grown by this time, and he took up work as a bouncer at the Comedy Connection in Boston. He also sold food to the guests at the Boston Garden Arena. Oh, I'm not through yet. Not through yet. Didn't stop there. This is his career here. Once you're here, O'Neill performed his first stand-up in October of 1992 at the Estelle's building. It was some sort of comedy club there. It was in Boston. He had attended an open mic night at the venue the week prior to his debut, where he heckled a performer. He heckled a performer who was in turn challenged him to try stand up himself, like comedian Dane Cook. He witnessed one of O'Neill's earliest sets and noted his gentle giant appeal. He already had an edge, but he was a little more vulnerable. O'Neill developed his act in the Boston area for the next 6 years, where his earlier performances were done under the name Bruiser O'Neill. In the mid 1990s, he met a comedian and later a close friend that he had already known since the beginning, who happened to be Jim Norton, whose real name is, well, at least James Joseph Norton. Yeah, James Joseph Norton, who everybody known him as Jim. Um, I mean, O'Neill just met this guy. So let's take it to 1998. 1998, O'Neill relocated out. What O'Neill did. O'Neill had relocated to New York City, working regular spots at the Comedy Cellar in early 1998. He took part in the fourth annual U.S. Comedy Arts Festival in Aspen, Colorado, which that he then moved to Los Angeles in the hopes of finding greater fame. This is where O'Neill has said this. He was like, "I tap danced like you wouldn't believe, trying to get something." O'Neill ignored demands from the club owners to change his confrontational act, and then he struggled to earn enough money. He was essentially thrown out of the American soil that was like America, and he accepted the offers to perform in the United Kingdom, first by English stand-up comedian John Simmett. For a part on his upfront comedy circuit, O'Neill worked hard to gain the respect of his peers, recalling that it took several months for them to go like, okay, this guy's not playing around. By mid 1999, he had headlined a comedy tour of Australia, of Australia, It was between 2000 and 2002 that he performed across stand up. He performed stand up across Europe, including the spots at the Black International Comedy Awards. It was like it was like way in London, England, and in Edinburgh, with the comedians like Louis Schaefer and Rich Voss. In 2006 and 2007, O'Neill joined Opie and Anthony's traveling virus comedy tour, playing large arenas across the U.S. In 2010, O'Neill recorded his first and only hour special for Comedy Central, Elephant in the Room. It originated after comedian Dave Attell had praised O'Neill's material to his manager, who entered the discussions with the network about producing one. Yeah, I wasn't even done with that yet. I wasn't done with this yet. Hold on. Fasten your seatbelts. Despite O'Neill being adamant on filming in Washington, D.C., that means the District of Columbia. The network wanted it recorded in New York City, and O'Neill eventually agreed that the special had premiered on February the 19th, 2011, with an uncut version released on CD and DVD. 3 days later, O'Neill promoted the special with an interview on the Late Night with Jimmy Fallon show, his first network his first network television appearance in 4 years. We take you back to back on television with the racism before all this. That's after all this happened with the racism. Uh, about before it. In late 2000, O'Neill took a position as a writer for the WWE after an associate of the company saw him perform. A big fan of professional wrestling, he pitched his idea for building a feud over 3 weeks, that culminated in a pay-per-view event, which won him the job. He visited he visited former WWE Chairman Vince McMahon's house, traveled with the organization for 1 week of live shows on their private jet. And directed some vignettes that he had wanted to direct. Uh, he was then offered a 13-week contract with them, but he turned it down instead as he already had plans. He went to say that it wouldn't have been a dream if he had kept doing it, and that it was enjoyable because there's the words here. The keywords is it was short and sweet. That's what some keywords there. It was short and sweet. Um, but later in his career, he also walked away. He also walked away from. Yeah, that's what it. That's what O'Neill did. He also walked away. He walked away from the potential opportunities such as the acting roles or the Web Junk 20, The Office, and Arrested Development. Though he would eventually guest star on the latter two, he jokingly described himself as a professional bridge burner. He wants to burn a bridge. He wants to burn a bridge. That's where we're going here. By 2002, O'Neill had returned to U.S. after he received an offer to record a half-hour comedy special on Showtime. He landed his first of a series of television appearances, beginning with a sketch program called The Colin Quinn Show, followed by another show that was called Tough Crowd with Colin Quinn, which that he appeared from 2002 until its cancellation in 2004. But in 2003, O'Neill had recorded a special for Comedy Central. It's called Comedy Central Presents. He recorded a special for the Comedy Central Presents thing. His first television appearance was on the Apollo Comedy Hour. From there he moved on to appearances on Showtime at the Apollo and F Night Videos. He appeared in guest starring roles on MTV's Apartment 2F, Assy McGee, Yes Dear, Arrested Development, Chappelle's Show. He did the skit for the Player Haters Ball. It was with Donnell Rawlings, Dave Chappelle, and Charles Murphy. So he yelling about he's the biggest hater. So and then the other show that was already there is called The Office. O'Neill was a regular on the Fox series called The Jury, and starred in the Comedy Central animated program called Shorties Watching Shorties with Nick DiPaolo. He supplied the voice of Harold Jenkins in Noggin's animated program O'Grady. Noggin was part. I think Noggin was with. I think that was from Nickelodeon already. It was it was from like what Paramount. Yeah, yeah, he supplied the voice of the Harold Jenkins character on O'Grady. That was like a animated program from the Noggin Network, and was featured on there as and then he was on there as what did O'Neill play as? Jesus Christ in Searchlight. That was from Dennis Leary's Searchlight. Yeah, he was in it. In 2005, he filmed a half an hour one night stand show for it's a special for HBO. It's a special for HBO. It's called One Night Stand. Um, he then became the host of the seasons one and two Web Junk 20 in VH1. That was like in 2006. In 2006, after two seasons, O'Neill declined to host the third, despite an offer that quadrupled his salary. What quadrupled his salary? What else had quadrupled his salary? What is it? Oh yeah. Oh, he was replaced by this man who has his own comedy special, James Brewer. That's his name, James Brewer. You gotta remember him from Half Baked. Remember him from Half Baked in the '90s, and he was on the SNL show in 1995. Then he left the show in 1998, and then he was starred in Half Baked with Dave Chappelle. Well, Guillermo Diaz was already in it. Um, yeah, Holland Williams, man, he plays this stoner dude. I don't know why, but by 2000 by 2007 in 2007 that O'Neill had revealed that he turned down an opportunity opportunity to appear on the Celebrity Fit Club reality show. It was like a show that whipped those guys into shape. It's like get off your ass and do it. That's what the trainer was telling people. And O'Neal has said this. O'Neal was telling people like he said that his career is more important than his health at that time. But he made like 5 appearances at the annual Just for Laughs festival in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. That's was located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, including this 1 week show that was it was the theater Saint Catherine, the theater Saint Catherine in it was in 2008. But around the same year, in the same year that he just wrote and started this web series that was called the Patrice O'Neill Show that was coming soon. It was featuring Nero, Nero, who had to be his girlfriend, Nero. But Brian Kennedy was already in there. Um, Harris Stanton was already in it. Will Simmons, Will Sylvans is in there. What's his name? William Sylvans. But the series it did not last that long until it was like unable to attain the sponsor due to its offensive content. He guest starred in another For Your Imagination produced show is called Break a Leg, playing an adult-sized Gary Coleman, but he played a role of a warehouse worker named Lonnie Collins in this American on the American TV series The Office from 2005, and it's first from the beginning in 2005 until its end in 2007. Um, in 2011, we explain all this from the start. Um, O'Neill, in fact, he did perform as one of the comedians the Comedy Central roast of Carlos Estevez, who was also known to the world as Charlie Sheen. Yes, the Comedy Central roast of Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen, whose real name is Carlos Estevez. As O'Neill has expressed his respect for the actor and wishing to tell him in person. The show aired on oh god, the show aired on released on the fall of 2011. It was September 19th of that year. With O'Neill, the last comic to perform, it kind of acquired the 6.4 million viewers. That's still the highest rated edition of the Comedy Central roasts. O'Neill's appearance on the roast. O'Neill's appearance on the roast was to be his final television appearance prior to his untimely death 2 months later. After the taping, O'Neill met uh, television legend William Shatner. Okay, he's like a Canadian actor who's known for playing as Captain James Kirk on Star Trek show in the '60s, and Shatner's wife, who were also in attendance in the garage, and the couple offered their support to O'Neill regarding his his what's it regarding like his diabetes that he was suffering and diagnosed with. I didn't know why I didn't know he had this his health issues now, which after which the three cried. Shatner recalled and said that he knew that he was dying and that he was a dying man, and in a way, he wanted to die. That's what I saw. That's why we cried. Radio thing. In 2002, O'Neill had returned. O'Neill had returned to the New York City area, where he made his debut appearance on the Opie and Anthony radio show on January 17th of that year, when friend comedian Rich Boz brought him on to the show, which at the time aired from the WNEW uh, station after the show was canceled. After the show was completely canceled in 2002, and we launched the what is this on what was it we launched on the XM satellite radio. Yeah, in 2004, O'Neill returned as a guest, or sometimes sitting in for an absent James Norton, and became one of the show's most popular guests, didn't he? But in 2006, O'Neill has settled some way. Like, I don't know what Patrice O'Neill's doing. But he started settling in, what was it, Jersey City, New Jersey. It was from 2006 to 2008. O'Neill had hosted a relationship advice show. that was on initially on XM, initially titled. I was gonna be damn near scared to call it. What what the fuck am I called? What the fuck are they gonna title this shit? Oh yeah, bitch management. That's what they call it. Bitch management. What the fuck are you calling it bitch management for? Why do you call it bitch management? Why is all titled before this, man? Come on. It was before it was renamed. What's it called? The Black Phillips Show, as a reference to Doctor to and what TV personality? Oh yeah, Philip McGraw, who had to be Doctor Phil. Yeah, Doctor Phil. Anybody remember Doctor Phil, who was behind the billionaire Ted skit on the WCW television tapings in '95? Remember that? Remember that night? Remember that 1995 when Doctor Phil did the skit on WCW television? But the show kind of aired on Saturday evenings with Dante Nero, who had to be O'Neill's girlfriend, as a co-host, and the rotating cast of female comedians on the third mic. The show ended following the XM and Sirius merger. The XM and Sirius merger. It's like, I don't know why they had merged, where the new management was unable to reconcile budgets for Saturday night programming. That's right, Saturday night programming. But in March of 2010, indeed, O'Neill has secured a deal with Comedy Central for a stand up special and a script for a proposed reality television show, Patrice O'Neill's Guide to White People. That's what it's called, Patrice O'Neill's Guide to White People. He got the idea for the latter that after he interjected that into a conversation. He interjected into a conversation with these two white males over guitar riffs, the guitar riffs, and thought of the idea of him trying to learn about white folks. White folks. The show was canceled before filming could begin. O'Neill's views on women had been the subject of discussion, and sometimes described as misogynistic. And in August of 2010, appearance on a podcast called WTF with Mark Maron, he stated that he was a terrible misogynist. That's a word, terrible misogynist. That was when he met his then girlfriend. The other projects that's happening here. Uh, O'Neill also appeared. Let me tell you about this here. O'Neill also appeared on as a guest on the other shows such as this right here. I stopped watching that show for a while. The Alex Jones Show and the segments on Fox News. He voiced the character, the name Jeffron James in the 2008 video game Grand Theft Auto 4 on its on its in-game radio station Fizz. It's called Fizz. On October the 27th here on that year. On one swing this year. It's all about TV debuts now. On October the 27th, 2011, O'Neill's final interview was released with Jay Moore. For his podcast called More Series. It's called More Series. He stated that his appearance at Sheen's Roast did little to transform his career apart from helping sell out a weekend of stand-up shows at Caroline's. He revealed a further meeting with the network, the FX network, regarding a possible animated series and a project that involved his friends coming to his home to record interviews. To record interviews. After O'Neill's death, BC Media announced the release of his first comedy album, Mr. P, on which he had been working on. The set recorded in April of 2011 at DC Improv in Washington D.C. was released on February the 7th. That was February the 7th, 2012, with his involvement prior to his passing. The sales of the release were donated to his mother, girlfriend, and stepdaughter. The album reached number one on the Billboard Comedy Albums chart and number 35 on the Billboard 200. On November the 6th, 2012, a 20-minute selection of previously unreleased material was released on O'Neill's website and through iTunes titled Better Than You. Yep, that's one here. Let me take you to what happens here. On February the 19th, 2021, Comedy Central released Patrice O'Neill, Killing is Easy, a documentary on O'Neill's life and career. It was directed by Michael Bonfiglio, who also served as an executive producer along with the guys right there I didn't get a chance to mention here. Mr. William Frederick Burr, Alessandro Madrigo, that's his name, Alessandro Madrigo, Michael Bertolina, that page doesn't exist, and Vonda Carlo Brown, that's what name. Vonda Carlo Brown. The comic style was simple. O'Neill had cited George Carlin and Richard Pryor as his favorite comedians. His comedy has been described as conversational. Conversational. His routines were characterized by an off-the-cuff approach and frequently adult themes. He was direct when presenting his views, particularly on race and gender roles. He was also a provocateur who often incited audience members to heckle or even leave the club. Uh, Greg Hughes, who's also known as OP, stated that he had seen O'Neill. You know, he just O'Neill just quote unquote was the keywords give people money to leave. Little O'Neill's personal life that he was engaged to Bondi Carlo Brown, who was an actress at the time of his death here. Tragically, I gotta go read this now. It hurt me to read this shit. On the morning of October the 19th, 2011, O'Neill phoned his fiancee Wanda Carlo Brown, who was an actress, to tell her that he could not move his legs. He was rushed to Jersey Center. That wasn't that he said Jersey City. Was he was rushed to Jersey City Medical Center and later in Englewood Hospital in was it in Englewood, New Jersey, um, where the doctors had performed surgery. They performed surgery to remove the a blood clot in his head. He lost his ability to speak and later his ability to move, communicating for a time by eye movements before also losing his ability. He's losing his ability. God damn. How you lose your ability like that? Doctors have stated that he would likely remain permanently paralyzed and unable to speak. If he survived, the news of the stroke he had suffered was made public on the Opie and Anthony show a week later. O'Neill died at 7 a.m. on November the 29th, 2011, of complications from his stroke, which had which was caused by the type 2 diabetes that he had since his early 20s. Why I don't know why he type had twice, like he had since his early 20s. Yeah, he was like 41. He was like 41 years of age. Uh, well, at least that he was like 41 years. He was like 41 years old. At the time that he had been trying to address his health issues by experimenting with veganism, replacing the sugary foods with the sugar-free substitutes, abandoning other sweetened soda. He abandons those things too. Uh, his funeral was so held on December the 5th of 2011 at New York's Park Avenue Christian Church. It was attended among the others Chris Rock, Colin Quinn, Nick DiPaolo, Artie Lange from the Howard Stern Show, Louis C.K., Jim Norton, Dave Attell, Dane Cook, Bill Burr, Wanda Sykes, Greg Hughes, Anthony Cumia, Rich, Rich Voss, Jay Oakerson, and Kevin Hart. The day after O'Neill's death, comedians have gathered to eulogize him on the Opie and Anthony show, including Bill Burr, Robert Kelly, Colin Quinn, uh, television legend, and UFC commentator Joe Rogan, Dave Attell, Rich Voss. Right, yeah, I'm about to go get. I'm gonna get that pizza. God damn, I gotta start this show over. The day after O'Neill's death, comedians gathered to eulogize him on the Opie and Anthony show, including comedians like Bill Burr, Robert Kelly, Colin Quinn, television legend, uh, former Fear Factor host and UFC commentator Joe Rogan, comedian Dave Attell, Rich Voss, comedian Jim Florentine, Russ Maneve, Joe DeRosa, uh, female comedian Amy Schumer. We got the white supremacist guy here. He wasn't a white supremacist guy. He was another stand-up comedian. Uh, Kurt Metzger, as his name, Kurt Metzger, and Louis C.K. The channel has already dedicated its programming that weekend to O'Neill, in a 16-hour special called A Tribute to Patrice O'Neill, featuring some of of his best appearances. His best appearances, along with the memories from the fellow comedians that evening Comedy Central broadcast his special, Elephant in the Room. Rolling Stone ran a four-page article about O'Neill's career and death in its early 2012 issue. In June of that year, Norton dedicated his 1 hour epics comedy special, Please Be Offended to O'Neill. It says, "Please be offended to O'Neill." I was like, "Oh no, what's this going on?" It was on the fall. It was on the fall of 2012. It was on the fall of 2012, September 23rd, during the 64th Primetime Emmy Awards. Yeah, O'Neill, man, he was remembered during the memoriam tribute, folks. His discography. Discography is already here. Elephants in the Room, that's out there. Mr. P, Better Than You. This is one that I did not even mention here. Patrice O'Neill, unreleased. God, I gotta read this stuff, man. I'm frozen. I'm frozen cold here. God, it's from the 90s. It's from 1990s all the way to the 2010s here. Apartment 2F, the Colin Quinn Show. Uh, Full of stuff, man. Uh, contest Searchlight, Chappelle's Show, Tough Crowd with Colin Quinn, the TV show Yes Dear, uh, Ed, Arrested Development. That's word, Arrested Development. The Jury, Shorties watching Shorties, One Night Stand, O'Grady, The Office, The Best Man, Web Junk 20, Assy McGee, that Assy McGee, Z Rock, The Green Room with Paul Provenza. I remember Paul Provenza. I remember Paul Provenza. Paul Provenza is a legend in those TV shows. He was on that Kids Court show. I was used to be on Nickelodeon. Uh, the Roast of Charlie Sheen. Roast of Charlie Sheen. He appeared on his own. The last time you see him on Comedy Central. It was on Comedy Central. That was the last time you see him on the network. Um, okay, there's some film work here. He was featured on Paper Soldiers. He was on the 25th Hour, Head of State, In the Cut, Scary Movie 4, Furry Vengeance, Elephants in the Room, and Nature Calls. And then his appearance on Grand Theft Auto 4. Man, you want me to read all this crap to find all this out? Come on, have some heart. I don't feel like reading all this bullshit now. God, I got to memorialize him anyway. The last time I had to get to do this live show based on every comedian that I have remembered and known. Yeah. I'm freezing. I'm freezing like a penguin in here. I gotta find the name. Oh, he got first, middle name, and second name. I don't know where he got the names from. It's a long ass name. It's a long ass name, bro. Malcolm. December 7th. God, I gotta go type it down too. Well, December 7th, 1969. I gotta find out he was born in. Oh, December 7th, 1969. Okay. His date of death, I gotta write that down. Oh, November the 29th, 2011. Okay. Yeah, I gotta dedicate this live stream into the memoriam of actor, uh, television star, and comedian Patrice Lumumba Malcolm O'Neill, born on December 7th, 1969, and died on November the 29th, 2011. Yeah. You had fed the dogs out yesterday? No, no, no. Feed them? No, I haven't get a chance to feed them. No, I'm just asking. Oh, no. All right, I'm gonna go feed them. Right. All right, I just wanted to know if they ate or not. Yeah. All right. Right. Okay, somebody probably fed them. I didn't even get a chance to go feed them. Okay, I gotta go dedicate this live show here to I got so I gotta dedicate this live show here. Uh, this live show here is dedicated to into the memoriam of actor, uh, television star, and comedian Patrice Lumumba Malcolm O'Neill, born on December 7th, 1969, and died on November the 29th, 2011. Rest in peace, Patrice Lumumba. Yeah, rest in peace, Patrice Lumumba Malcolm O'Neill.